What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the Strong.Sistas YouTube channel. Today is an extra special fun video. First, some tips and questions for you to ask your local farmer to determine whether that farm is something you're willing to get behind and support. Yeah. Second, it's Miss Marshmallow's birthday, the Queen Marshmallow's birthday. So we got her a fun little package, and so we will show you guys that.
So before we dive into any and all of that,
oh yes, we've been getting a lot of requests that we clean this guy. So sorry. Okay, this is a test. Are we clean here?
wait, back up. I am one with the TV. I am a floating head.
Sarah has a very important intro statement to get this conversation about what to ask your local farmer started. So Sarah, it's your turn. Go time.
Thanks for giving me the floor, Ash. I actually have two statements that I wanted to bring up. First is, I think the most important thing we should do all as consumers is to stay informed. I think having an attitude of being apathetic and not caring is going to be our greatest downfall, especially to the environment and animals. So be informed. We are not having this conversation coming at you at a point of being elitist or trying to say that we're better than anybody for purchasing high quality meat. Instead, we encourage you to inform yourself and get to a place that you can potentially in the future also purchase high quality, ethically sourced meat. I think it's very important. We have made it a priority, and so that is the position that we're coming to you, that we're coming at you from.
And in this specific context, what we mean by being informed is knowing your farmer.
Yeah.
That is a very important piece of all of this, and that is what we are trying to encourage.
Yes, so with that said, let's get into the questions you could potentially ask the farmer.
Preface to the questions, we need to discuss different types of animals. So first we have ruminants, which are cows and lamb and goats, and these animals are able to eat a 100% grass-fed and finished diet. Now on the other hand, we have monogastric animals, which are pigs and chickens. So these animals are fed grains at some point of their life. It is just not sustainable for the farmer to not feed these animals grain. It would not be profitable. So just keep that in mind.
So the first group we are going to review is what to ask your farmer about their cattle and other small ruminants.
So as we go through these questions, we are going to play a little game.
I don't know if this is the right word at all, but you guys know that app like Bumble?
Like
so
Tinder,
it's
kind
like
of?
a Tinder matchmaking, sort of, and you swipe right or you swipe left. I don't know which one.
These are our rules today.
We're going to say if it's a no to the farmer, we're going to swipe right. If it's a yes, we're going to swipe left, and it's a match. So let's start. So the first question that you would ask your farmer about cattle and other small ruminants is, are they grass-fed? And what we're looking for here is 100% grass-fed and finished. Some farmers finish their cattle on grain for the last few weeks of their lives because they say it enhances the flavor or provides like a marbling. And that's really not necessary. As a society, we have become really used to the taste of grain-finished meat. But if it's 100% grass-fed and finished is a priority to you, swipe right on a farmer who finishes on grain, swipe left on a farmer who is 100% grass-fed and finished. When it comes to grasses, some farmers will feed silage, which is a way to preserve pasture grasses through fermentation, and some farmers will preserve corn. And corn, if it's cut before the grain stage, it is still considered a grass. So ask whether they're feeding silage, including corn, and if they are, how the corn was grown. If it had GMOs, swipe right. If it's fine with you, swipe left. Ultimately, it comes down to your priorities.
And just as a note, the finishing stage is going to affect the final omega-3 and omega-6 ratios in the meat product itself. So a cow that was finished on grain is going to have a higher omega-6 content, and a cow that is finished fully on grass is going to have a higher omega-3 content.
Question 2.
What supplements do you feed your cows or your ruminants? So one example of a great supplement is to provide like a mineral bath pool, a mineral spread for the cows to come and munch on, and this is for them to balance their electrolytes. And surprisingly, they're very good at following their intuition and coming to these mineral stores, and like
they're intuitive munchers
on these mineral stores.
For a comprehensive list of other certified grass-fed supplements that people can feed their cattle, check out the American Grass-Fed Association. They have a great list of supplements, and I will provide a link to that in the description below. If the supplement matches what's on this list, or if it's just minerals, what would you do? Swipe left. If they're doing hormones and weird, funky antibiotics that you have no idea what they are and there's no reason for them because the cattle's not sick and blah, 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 swipe right.
Numero 3.
Do your cattle have continuous access to pasture and are free to roam? What's the answer?
Ideally, they should have always access to pasture and sunlight so that they can practice their innate instincts.
So if yes, swipe left. If no, if they're confined in like tiny rooms, swipe right. I think I'm in the wrong way. Swipe right.
Yeah, there you go.
Question, are we on 3? 4. Question 4 is, what is your water source for your animals? If they're feeding from or drinking from a very low well, it's likely really good and free of toxins. If it's a shallower well, could be questionable. Ultimately, you'll never really know. You just need to ask them, and if they seem to get defensive, them as in the farmer, if they get defensive, they shouldn't be, swipe right.
Yep.
If they're open to talking about it,
swipe left
for yes.
Question number 5, do you use growth hormones, antibiotics, or steroids? So kind of returning to that supplement question, but being a little bit more specific. So if the cows are sick, using antibiotics once in a while is totally fine, but if they are routinely using growth hormones, antibiotics, and steroids, that's gonna be a big ol' swipe right. If they are just occasionally using antibiotics to
treat a sick cow, because you don't wanna get the rest of the herd sick,
that's
fine. Question number 6 is, do you have any certifications? So some certifications could be American Grass-Fed certified, Animal Welfare certified, and then there's a Savory Land to Market verification. So it would be awesome if they do. Of course, that would be not necessarily automatic.
Easier for you.
It would be easier for you to just determine what they're doing, what their practices are, because usually if it's a high quality certification, their practices will be verified. Some aren't though, but when it comes to things like organic doesn't mean grass-fed. So organic could mean organic feed in a feedlot. So be weary here. It's best to just get to know your farmer, because a lot of times smaller farmers cannot afford to get certified and therefore will not have certification, and that's totally fine. You can totally swipe left all day long to a farmer with no certification. So this one's a little bit tricky.
Getting those certifications is expensive.
It's expensive, okay? So if they say no, you can still swipe left if the rest of the farmer's practices align with your priorities.
All right, so now we're gonna move to the monogastric animals, so poultry and hogs. So first, for poultry, we wanna be able to ask some questions to determine whether the farmer is practicing pastured poultry properly. So the term like cage-free is kind of like not that.
Yeah, we've learned from a lot of farmers that a lot of factory farms for chickens say cage-free, and what that means is their chickens may not be confined in cages and they may have access to outdoors, but typically the outdoors is very run down. It's just mud and it's not actually grass, and the chickens never actually choose to go out there, because why would they if they got their feed on the inside? So cage-free and other labels like that kind of don't really mean much. Another label to look out for is vegetarian fed.
Yes.
Because chickens are meant to eat the bugs.
Chickens are omnivores. They are not vegetarians.
Yes, so the first question is related to that, and it is, what do your chickens eat? What are they fed? So like she was saying, all chickens will be fed some sort of grain mix, and some mixes contain corn and soy. If it's a priority to you that your farmer does not use corn and soy because of some sensitivity that you have, swipe right if the answer is yes to that, swipe left if it's no. But do know that just because it's fed corn and soy doesn't make it a bad product.
The monogastric animals, the poultry and the pork, ultimately have higher omega-6 levels relative to beef, so they can be inflammatory for some people who are super sensitive to this.
If your farmer is open to talking about their feed and they know where it's coming from, that's an automatic swipe left. And if they're saying like, oh, it's, you know, just some, they don't even know what's in the feed or they can't even answer your question, that's where you would probably swipe right, because then you should be concerned about the feed being moldy or that just not getting it from a good place.
Plus, that omega-6 value can vary a lot depending on the practices of the farmer. So if we have the conventional poultry practices where they're confined and super stressed animals, they're fed a lot of GMO corn and soy, yeah, their omega-6 is gonna be really high. But now if we find farmers who are doing pastured poultry where the chickens have access to run around all day in the grass, peck at insects, can practice their natural instincts, aren't stressed, it turns out you can lower their omega-6 content quite a bit.
So pastured poultry and they know where the feed's coming from, that's a swipe left. If they just have no idea, they don't care, and they're confined and they just free range, whatever, swipe right.
And now on to pork, hogs. very similar to the chickens. The omega-6 to 3 ratio is really going to vary depending on how the animal is raised and what the animal is fed. So for conventional hogs that are treated inhumanely and packed into really small spaces and are fed a GMO feed, yes, they are going to have super high omega-6 content in their final. Right. That's a swipe right. And so you want to ask your farmer what land do the pork have access to? Ideally, they have access to grass and other like muddy areas.
They can root and get the insects and stuff in the ground. So you want your pork on pasture too. Pastured pork is a thing, so that's a swipe left. And then same thing with the feed. Earlier we discussed with the chickens, if the farmer knows where it's coming from, it's pretty high quality, swipe left.
But a super interesting note there is the omega-6 to 3 ratio can really change in a hog depending on the final feeding stage. So about 90 days before the hog is butchered, sent to the processing plant, if you change the hog's diet, you can drastically change that omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. So maybe that's another question to ask your farmer is, what do you feed your hogs, and do you change that feed depending on the finishing stage of that hog?
Yeah, so White Oak Pastures actually removes corn and soy within the last 90 days of the pig's life. That's just what their hog manager does. It's what he's been doing.
And he focuses more on omega-9 sources, so like sunflower stuff?
Yeah, so likely their end pork product higher in omega-9. So that would be a swipe left.
Now we're going to move on to questions to ask about their farming practices. So this may or may not be important to you, but this is something that is near and dear to our hearts. We are super passionate about regenerative agriculture, responsible holistic management, so that we can help repair the soil that is so dead in this country. Yeah, so let's dive into some of those questions.
So one question would be, how do you manage your pastures? So you may be wondering if grass-fed and finished means the same thing that we're talking about right now. It actually doesn't. How the farmer manages his or her pasture is very important to whether or not their practices are actually truly benefiting the environment. So when you're looking for a properly managed pasture, what we call holistic management is good rotation. So are they rotating their cattle every day or every 2 days or potentially every 3 days if they're in a larger plot? And what that looks like is moving their cattle from one plot of their pasture to another, and then giving that initial plot time to recover before the cattle rotate back to it. And that just allows the grasses to grow and for the soil to replenish itself, all good things to happen. Note that some farmers may just be getting into this and may not be experts on the topic, but if they're rotating their cattle, they're moving and grooving, that's a sign that they're headed in the right direction, and that's an automatic swipe left. If they never move their cattle and they're just staying on one plot of grass, they have access to just a whole lot of everything, they don't really care about where their cattle are going, that's a swipe right in my opinion when it comes to
similar to
sustainability. Yeah, you have to think about that.
So along those same lines, a second question to ask is, do you practice polyspecies grazing? So this is the idea of having animals follow each other in their rotation. So it's kind of like a planned rotation. So for example, let's say you have plots A, B, and C. A, you have the cow, you move them to B. The chickens follow and they go to plot A. And the reason for that, just one example, is the cows are gonna have large mounds of poop, lots of poop, which is a great fertilizer for the soil. By having the chickens follow the cows, they will then go and pluck at that poop and help spread that poop across the pasture, which is ultimately going to help repair the whole pasture rather than just specific spots. So that's just an example. So maybe ask them, do you have your, what order do you have your pigs, cows, and chickens? As an example.
Yeah, perhaps you could bring up the name SALATIN from POLYFACE Farms. He's the one who like kind of spearheaded the whole portable chicken coop that follows behind the cattle, and it's a really cool concept. We can't wait to build our own.
Can't wait.
But yeah, so if they don't do polyspecies and they just have cattle and that's what you're looking for, you can still swipe left. But it is something cool to think about if they have more species there and they're following each other and they're all working together.
They're going to be more efficient at repairing the soil if there's polyspecies grazing. So that'd be a big old swipe
left. Okay, bonus questions to get to know your farmer just a little bit more, and these are fun. One question could be, what breed are your cattle? Why do you have these specific cattle? Why do you have this breed? It could just be a cool question to get to know them a little bit more. How long have they been farming? Again, you're just opening up the floor. I feel like these are common questions to ask someone to get to know them. It's like you're on a date. So it's a blind date, but now you're in human, so you have to be less awkward. So you could ask them, how long have they had that plot of land? How long have they been practicing regenerative agriculture? Where do they want to take their farm in the future? These are all good questions.
Who is their biggest farming hero or farmer inspiration?
Yeah.
Another bonus question to ask your farmer is, can I get a tour of your farm? They love showing off their farm. So we have asked pretty much all of our local farmers, and we have never been told no. And it's really fun to walk around their pastures with them while you're asking these questions. So don't be afraid to ask them about getting a tour and coming to visit them.
Along that same line, yeah, if you are actually talking to them on the phone right now or emailing back and forth, ask if you can come visit. If the answer is no, that's a swipe right. The answer is yes, that's a swipe left. They should always want you to come visit and be transparent about their practices. That matters. Okay, when it comes to price, some questions to ask your farmer are, do they participate in CSAs? So community supported agriculture. This is definitely going to reduce your price. Do they sell half, quarter, full cows? We've talked about this before. I'm just gonna link a YouTube video in the description below where we go over how to make eating grass-fed and finished high quality meat more cost friendly. So check that video out when it comes to pricing. So these are just fun. Honestly, get to know your farmer. It has been so rewarding for us. Now we've got like our farmer's digits in our phone. We swiped left so many times last summer.
My cell phone.
They probably get really annoyed at us, but it is what it is, you know?
It's really cool to know where our food source is coming from, and I think that is a lost art, ability in our generation.
Yeah, we're out of touch with that.
Out of touch. Really that's the word.
We've just gotten this question so many times. Guys, what do you actually ask your farmer when you go visit them? It took us a long time to get this too. Like the first farmer, we didn't know what to say. We just said thanks, which you should always say thank you. But hopefully these questions help. We must,
strip that down for me. Angel status. So angel wing lift. Let's go get that angel wing. Let's get that bread. Let's go. Happy birthday to you, not you. Happy birthday to you. Marshy, it's Marshy's birthday today, you guys. She turns how old? 5. And the reason that I know that is because I got her the first summer that I started graduate school, so I know her age based on how many years I've been in school. She's been here the whole step of the way. In dark years, she's 35, so she's meeting that midlife crisis. Good girl. So you guys may notice that she is in her birthday suit. How
she naughty.
Little nakey. For your gift, Miss Marshmallow, we got her a new collar from White Oak Pastures. So White Oak Pastures follows a zero waste policy, and so this leather was made from the skin of the cows and not letting anything go to waste. So it's pretty cool that we know exactly where this leather is coming from, who made it. Shout out to Amber Girl.
Shout out.
In their zero waste workshop. So if you guys want to match Miss Marshmallow, get a leather swag.
Put it on. So a little about Marshy since it's her big day. So Marshy she just turned 5. She is a Great Pyrenees Border Collie mix. She did not get any of the hair, and she looks like, what are those called?
Greyhound.
She looks like a greyhound when she runs. She came from a place that they had her by accident. So Marshmallow was an accident, a blessing in disguise. She is absolutely wonderful. She has two moods. It is I am going to sleep like a queen, or I'm going to go buck wild and sprint. She's cray-cray, but she's also calm. So
come take a look at the...
She deserves every last bit of this.
The bling. Come take a look at the bling.
Hi,
so here's a close-up of the beautiful leather. Beautiful, it's so beautiful, and it looks so good on you, Miss Queen.
You're looking good.
And this is a size large, and she is about a lean 65 to 70 pounds.
Show the Queen Marshy part.
So here is her name. We got Queen Marshy with some swag bedazzled, and then this beautiful little crown.
Brown-eyed girl, sha-la-la-la. Hey, this is a solo. Thank you. Brown-eyed girl, sha-la-la. Ooh, yeah, you are beautiful. I'm just kidding.
So ordering these collars from White Oak is just another step of ours as we move towards being more and more sustainable carnivores. So if you guys want to order your dog one too,
get on that swag level.
And you can use code Strong.Sistas at the checkout.
Man, she got that swag. Her hat matches her bag. Okay. Happy birthday, baby girl. Give the camera a smooch. Nope. 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 Okay.
She let it touch them.
No smooch. I touched the butt.
Let's take a look at her lean figure. She's a 35-year-old woman, but she has kept excellent frame. Come on, give a spin. Give a spin.
Give a matzo walk.
Lean figure. Look at these quads. These juicy quads.
Juicy quads. She is made of muscle.
Lots of muscles on this.
Yes.
Deep massage time. Deep massage. Deep massage. You like that spot? Deep massage.
So just realized that her little collar assembly jingles. That's gonna take some getting used to. Oh, you little hippity hop. Oop, little hop. Oop, little hop. Ready? Oop, little hop. Oh, close call. Does not excel in jumping.
So check out this meat jello. This is beautiful meat jello. I think it's so cool. This was just from 8 hours of having oxtail. So we get our oxtail from White Oak Pastures. It comes nice pre-sliced. So the oxtail was just covered in water and sat in the slow cooker for 8 hours, and it produced this wonderful meat jello. So it's not gonna have the same like micronutrients as like a bone broth would that sits in the slow cooker for like 24 hours, but this is a beautiful source of collagen. So this is technically gelatin because it's the cooked form of collagen. Some of this beautifulness. Lily, does that look good, Mama? Angel baby? What do you think, Angel baby? Yes, yes, yes. All right, tonight's plata 2. So we've got mine here and Seisei's. I like to have my suet on a separate plate. I don't want the steak juice to come.
Diva.
I am a diva. Okay, so plate 1. We've got some filet, right? Tenderloins?
Yes, tenderloin.
We cooked these in the air fryer at 400, about 5 minutes each side, so 10 minutes total, and it's very rare on the inside. Then we've got an offal burger made of beef spleen, beef kidney, ground beef, and bacon, and we'll be posting a recipe soon. And then beef shank soup bone. And then we've got that meat jello, 3 sunny side up chicken boobs, and a side of fat. Alright, it is time to eat, yo. We got a flat tire this week, and someone came to help us take the flat tire off and put the spare tire on, and the spare tire is in the back of my car, so we had to open up the back end. And the 2 items that were in the back of my car were the horse on the pole and
Pole horse.
Sarah's bikini show, bikini competition heels with butterflies. Major
Together match made in heaven.
So
Let your
probably
brains
just,
go
like,
wild.
told you guys last week that I'm practicing like visualization a lot, and so my visualization today is that I'm on the pastures of our farm with riding a horse alongside our 3 doggos. So that's the visualization today, and I'm really putting it into action with some props too.
Wraps up today's video. Thanks for hanging out with us today, you guys. Hopefully this video is helping if you are going to go find your local farmer, visit them, and see what they're about.
So until next time, behave like an angel.